Right, Stevie, thanks for joining us. Let's have a wee look ahead to the season ahead, I guess, if we can. But first of all, before we get to that, the past 2 or 3 months, I know everyone's been furloughed, including yourself. What's it been like for you? I guess it's just been like the same for the rest of us, sat in the house and
yeah,
on the way out.
It is, Stephen. It's strange because you think that it's going to be a 2-3 week thing, and then we find ourselves 3 months down the line, and actively to get out the flat and get some fresh air. I've been enjoying going out running, and I've been doing anything from 5 to 10k every day. More just that discipline side, and I've still got that competitive edge to myself that whatever time I get the day before, I want to get better. So on the fitness side, I'm probably fitter than I've ever been for a long time. I've done a lot of reflection on the season past and thinking about the future, and I've listened to a lot of audiobooks. I'm not a great reader, but one on Alex Ferguson, Leader, was very interesting. Try to pick up some hidden gems in that, and then like everybody, you find yourself watching Netflix, and again, Secret of Success. It was a documentary with Alex Ferguson that was very interesting. Watched Gascoigne video, absolute genius of a player, but he's had these troubles on the social side of things. The Last Dance, Michael Jordan, I thought that was terrific. To see that, everybody knows what he could do as a basketball player and what he brought to the sport. He was world class, but then they see the problems away from basketball, what he faced, and troubles with his family. So it was an eye opener, and as I say, it's just try to learn off these things and keep yourself amused that you're not going insane.
Yeah, it's a unique situation because I think we've all been in the same boat and watched all the same things. In terms of the players, I know you couldn't really have much contact with them at all just due to the furlough guidelines. That will hopefully change in the next few weeks. Have you even thought about how training's going to work, Zoom calls, all stuff like that?
Yeah, it's strange because it's like anything. If you're not sure of something, you go and speak to somebody that's dealt with that in the past. Nobody's dealt with this. So what the future's going to bring, yesterday I found myself on the phone to Barry Nicholson, who I keep regular contact with. He's working at Fleetwood. They've just found out that they're going to be playing in the playoffs. They've got 3 weeks to prepare for a game against Wycombe, and as I say, you try and pick up wee things that they're doing on the training ground, because there's no rights or wrongs, and you've got to find something that works for the players, but also with the social distancing. So there will be challenges ahead, but as I say, I've had contact now that I'm off furlough with the players just to see how they're doing mentally. I felt it was right after I dealt with the players that weren't getting contracts that I made a point of going round to every player on the phone and just finding out how they were. And as I say, they're facing different challenges every day, things that aren't normal for them and issues with their family. So they're all well, desperate to get back, as we all are, to try and get some normality to their lives again.
And I'm guessing you have to put a bit of trust in them as well. And I guess it's players are more professional than maybe what they were 30, 40 years ago, but the players will have to keep themselves in shape, otherwise when they come back you'll know about it.
Aye, close season always brings the problems anyway. Some players look after themselves better than others, but again, you find yourself 3 months away from playing a competitive sport, so they've had to live with that on a daily basis, that they're not out there trying to win small-sided games, win possession, so the competitive edge is away from them. The one thing that I know through talking to them is that they have been running, but there becomes a danger in that they end up doing too much longer distance stuff, because we all know in football that it's 10, 15, 20 yard bursts, change of direction stuff as well. So again, that's hurdles that we'll have to overcome. And we've been lucky that we've brought in a new physio. Jamie has joined the club from St Johnstone, and we've got Gary on the sports science side of things, and Jason and Greg, that we'll have to have a lot of communication between ourselves, that we're giving the players the right prep for the new season ahead.
I guess as well, every other team and every other squad, every other manager, particularly in the Championship, will be going through this exact same thing, so we'll be starting from a similar base, I guess. Yeah,
as I say, it's not just ourselves that are finding ourselves with this problem, and again, it's just communicating with people within the game to try and find ways of making sure that we're doing things to the best of our ability.
In terms of the squad, 17 players departed at the end of the season. They were out of contract. What's your assessment of the players that we've got left? We've probably got about 9 or 10 what you'd say established first team players, and then there's a few youngsters in there as well. What's your overview?
Yeah, I think there's a good foundation there to build on, and until we get a start date, until we're given a start date, and it allows the chairman to get a playing budget together, what we've got to do is just be keeping our eye on things out there as you normally do anyway. That's no different from any other season or any other time in football. Continuously working away on things, seeing who's out there, who's available, players that possibly want to come and play for Dunfermline. But as we know, finance dictates things at times like this as well sometimes, and we want to try and attract the best players that give us the best possible chance to do well next season.
Have you got a number in your head about how many new players you'd like to bring into the squad?
No, again, it's hard because you're talking about things where we don't know what the budget's going to be. So I've always said I don't want to say something that I regret when I look back on it. We've got Cammy Gull and Ben Swinton, the 2 goalkeepers. I would like to add a goalkeeper. From the boys that we let go, there's a number of central midfield players, so I think we've got to address that area of the pitch. I think fans, myself, the staff enjoy wide players that are creative at Dunfermline Football Club, so our focus will be on trying to get players of that nature into the club. But as I say, the players available at this moment in time, that's things that we'll have to come up against.
In terms of the financial side, you touched on it there. The fans always play an absolutely key role, and it's sort of stark when you compare it with what's going on down south. They're happy to play games behind closed doors because they've got all the money from the TV deal. But clubs like us, and indeed most of the clubs in Scotland, depend on fans coming through turnstiles. Now we don't know when that's going to happen, but have you got a message for the fans in terms of season tickets? It's so important that the club is backed at this time.
Yeah, just in the times you need. I don't want to get the begging bowl out because that's not the case. But the one thing with Dunfermline fans is they get behind the team, and it never ceases to amaze you. The Support the Players campaign that I've spoke about previously was fantastic. They put their hands in their pockets, and the more fans that are willing to go and buy their season ticket will strengthen the opportunity to strengthen the playing squad. So if they can turn out in the numbers as they have in previous years, it'll be much appreciated.
And it's still not clear what the league structure will be above us. It looks like it's it's going to be as usual in terms of the championship at 10. But what are your hopes and ambitions for the season ahead? I know it's difficult to say without having your full squad and knowing what's happening and how many games we'll be playing, but I guess it will just be for a club this size we need to be in the Premiership.
I think somebody said to me, when I bumped into somebody and they said, "Were you happy finishing 6th place?" No chance. If any fan heard the Dunfermline manager saying that, you'd want them chased out the door. It's not to say that the squad that we put together that I'm majorly disappointed with last season. I think there was games when there was a lot of excitement. We were scoring goals last year, which we'd improved on from the previous season. But equally there were some bad performances. So we need to bring in players that can handle the Dunfermline environment and hopefully allow us the opportunity to get in amongst the playoffs next season.
And just finally, it's so important that a club like this is still here in 50 or 100 years' time. We've mentioned it previously, and the fans are vital to that, and they all want to see success as well.
Yeah, the fans will always be here. They'll be here long after I move on, and I know the chairman's fully aware of that. But the chairman has made some tough decisions. I know him and the board are regular contact on a daily basis now to try and face this pandemic and find a way of getting out it in the most positive way possible, and that is the fans getting behind the team again, looking forward to next season. And if we can get selling season tickets, it allows us to strengthen the squad and bringing players that Dunfermline fans will appreciate.